kids, let's get started. Those of you here for van information, sorry, but I have other interests as well, and I have no other place to post this. But I noticed that on the web there's a shortage of vintage Hagstrom videos, so whatever. It's important to see what this stuff is. I've been a lover of Hagstrom since 1983. In fact, the guitar I bought in 1983 is in this case, but that's a different story. Anyway, what we have here, 1967 Hagstrom Viking. This is occasionally called a Viking 1, as opposed to the Viking 2, which had humbuckers and 3+3 headstock. This is, I believe, is actually officially called the Viking Deluxe. It was a 1.5-year only thing. This is the one that Elvis played, and it is deluxe because it has gold hardware. It has an overlay on the headstock, this black plastic overlay. It has more binding than a normal Viking would have. And this particular one came with the optional Hagsby, which is just a Bigsby, but that does say Hagstrom here. Now, I have made modifications to this. When I got this guitar in 2000, 1999, something like that, got it on eBay, and it had two Gibson, like 70s PAFs, the ones that have the embossed Gibson logo. Has those two on. I sold those pickups right back on eBay for more than I paid for the guitar. Then I added, found these two single coils, which I believe this black center of the single coil, usually it's silver, is modified, or just somebody colored it in with a Sharpie, I don't know. Found these pickups in Italy, of all places, and this thing had been cut, so I had a buddy make a plate to cover up the hole and whatever, but the guts of the guitar is still a Viking. Hollow body, no center block, 6 on a side, Hagsby. And as you can see probably, normally the controls would be volume, volume, tone, tone. I changed that just because, I don't know, I'm me. I actually stuck the master volume here in the F hole and a master tone, and I put the jack there. Where would the jack normally be? I can't remember. Is there a hole in the bottom? Yes, there's a hole here for the jack. Anyway, this is a particularly good example. These came in a variety of colors, but most of them you see are like a red, like Elvis's, or this sort of natural. Very cool. I could wax on about the Hagstroms, and I will briefly. Hagstrom was somewhat in this country seen, perceived to be a budget instrument or an intermediary instrument, but they are every bit, in my opinion, the quality of a 50s Fender or a 50s or 60s Gibson. Beautiful builds, advanced features of the Hagstrom I will now list for you rather quickly. One of the main ones is this bridge. The way the bridge works, and I'll show you some inserts of here, is that each individual saddle can be adjusted fore, aft, side to side, and up and down. All three axes of motion. So you can do fancy stuff with that. Hagstroms have some kind of fancy truss rod that looks different from other truss rods, so much so that in 40 years now of playing Hagstroms, I have never had to touch a truss rod. Hagstroms were also known for their super thin, flat neck. I'm not exactly sure what the radius is, but it's something like 15 inches. Really flat, really fast, very, very thin by modern standards. Lightweight, good design, bulletproof. The headstocks don't snap like a Gibson. I mean, they don't have a lot of other problems. And they had some unique pickup stuff. And I don't know, there's just something about the vibe of this thing, because the rich kid would have a Guild or a Gibson, a fancy Gibson, and the hick would have a Telecaster or a Mustang. But only the true aficionado of the proletariat, the punker, or just the wise ass, would have a Hagstrom and see the beauty. And you'll find online that the Hagstrom community is deeply invested in their instruments. They really get it. Anyway, I'm going to demo this through a sort of a Fender Champ, a Champ 2 technically, which is a very special amp, but I'm going to play it relatively clean. And I am not the best, but you'll get an idea of what it sounds like. We'll start on the neck pickup. Pretty basic sound. This one has flat wounds of, I think they're 12s. Been on here about 6 years. I don't like to change. That setting makes it sound a little plinky, but it's actually quite smooth. If I go to the neck pickup, that's where it starts to get nasty. Now I might roll that off with get a little more smoothness, bring it down. And the middle setting, of course. which is quite usable and quite distinct from the other two. Sounds like flat wound. So you get that kind of action going on. And there you go. 1967 Hagstrom Viking Deluxe.